Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jake Guerin. I'm the creator of Helio Cinematic Productions. In today's video, we're going to go into Premiere Pro and I'm going to show you exactly how I did some edits on a video I shot, a travel video I shot last year in Venice called Venezia. Did I pronounce that right?
Venezia. Venezia.
Yeah, that.
Venezia.
Anyways, I had a lot of positive responses about that film. A lot of folks asked me exactly how I did the transitions. Were they done in post? Did you do those in camera? Everything was shot in camera. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to show you some actual clips on how I shot those and then how I tied that all together. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into my Premiere Pro and I'll show you exactly how I did that. All right, guys, welcome to my Premiere Pro. We're going to do a real quick run through of this video, show you the first 45 seconds of the video, and then I'm going to go and give you kind of an in-depth breakdown of each clip. I'm having trouble with the timeline. I did this last year. I've since updated Premiere, and it's just acting really goofy, but I do have my glasses on, so I can see things and we can get things going here. But let's go ahead and take a look at this first clip, the first 45 seconds, and then we'll kind of break it down from there. Boom. All right, there you have it. All right, let's get into this. Let's take a look at the first 45 seconds here. Like I said, I was having trouble with my timeline, so I just played that off of YouTube, the full clip. For some weird reason, levels with this new upgrade on this older timeline is causing it to go really goofy, as you can see here. But I'll try to walk you through on how I use levels to basically transition from one clip to the other by simply increasing the exposure, ramping that exposure up, and leading that into another clip. But when I get there, I'll pull that up and we can go into a little bit more detail. But let's go ahead and go back to the start here. For the sake of performance, I've toggled all my proxies. But let's start with this very first clip. By the way, there's about 25, 26 clips to make this first 30-second sequence. But this particular clip, I was actually running to a train, had to stop real quick because it just looks so cool. It was very well composed. And I just wanted to take a moment to grab that. And what I did, I didn't have a tripod when I was traveling here, so it is a little bit unstable, but I was able to pull that in and analyze that with warp stabilizer and smooth it out just a little bit. But essentially, this is the first opening shot. What I've done here is I've just kind of sat there for a few seconds, and then I did a series of different whips from left to right, up, down, in camera. So you'll kind of see that. Let me go into this as a nested clip. And here's kind of the raw footage of it. You can see it's not very stable. But once I stabilized that, it actually worked pretty good. And what I've done at the end of this clip here, I just did a really quick whip to the left, which then leads me into the next clip. The next two clips actually are the same clip. The first one is the second clip in reverse, which is kind of cool. So let me show you that clip first. So wanted to basically capture that, hey, we're in a train station, kind of setting the scene of where we're at. And I'll let this run through, but basically I sat on this clip for a few seconds. I did do a series of different transition whips from right, left, up, down. That way I had something to work with in post. And to keep in mind, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing. There's very rarely am I going just to the right or just to the left. I kind of want to do a little bit of different variations. That way I have a lot to work with in post. So this clip here, I was on the travel board there, and then I just whipped it to the left. And the cool thing about this clip is actually the lady was standing in the middle of two different signs. So you can see the first one there, and then the second one there, which kind of led it going into the second clip very well. So again, I took that clip and I just went back here and I did the same clip but just reversed it. So this is how it looks like. So coming off the train platform, whipping into that clip, stopping on the sign, and then running this thing in normal time back. So it happens pretty quick. You don't even notice it. And then again, that whips into the next clip. So let's play those three together to give you an idea. Whip. Whoosh. 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 Right there. All right. I like my little whooshes I threw in there. Not very good. All right. So then we go into the fourth clip here. Again, I set myself up on the sign. This again is ran in reverse. So I started from this shot right here and then whipped it to the left or the right. In this case, I think it was to the left. So it allowed me to kind of come in, sit on that shot, and then whip it back out. And then I reversed it, so it kind of made it look pretty seamless. Stop, hanging for a second, and then I just whipped it to the right again, past a little pillar that was right there. And that brings me to the next clip. So while I was in the train, I captured these tracks and I did some whips back and forth, up, down, left, right. So again, having some more footage to work with in post. But again, it allowed me to say, okay, you not only in a train station, I'm confirming it by showing you some train tracks, and then I'm gonna whip to a shot. And like I said, this is where it gets kind of goofy. So I'm gonna turn off that clip to show you. So in the train, whip to another shot of where we're going. There's a sign footage of where we're going. Venezia. I can never say that right, but you get the point. And again, that'll whip into another shot from inside the train. So we just went from inside, outside, back to inside the train. Pretty clean. And now we're rolling here. And what I've done here is I've actually did just a simple crossfade into a clip that I just took. It's 4K footage. I ran it for probably around 2 minutes, just capturing things going by the window. And I knew that I was going to use that clip for some sort of overlay, and that's kind of what I did with this. Again, showing that we're on a train, there's a lot of movement. I've got a series of different audio tracks running below that to kind of help push that forward. And that allowed me to overlay onto a shot of my wife just looking out the window. But the cool thing with the overlay is it just keeps showing movement. And then I took the same clip and I overlaid it again on top, and you can see that right here. And that again just kind of keeps the movement going consistent at a lower opacity. So it's at 20%. It's just sitting right on top of the clip of her looking out the window. And I kind of stretch that out into a next series of 2 more overlay clips, just again to show exactly where we're at, what we're doing. In this case, we're on a train. The overlays show some footage of what she's looking at when she's looking out the window. So there's some buildings going by, different tracks. There's some wires from the electrical trains. And then I move into another dissolve of, again, outside what she's looking at. And we're going by a freeway. And there's that goofy spot. Let me turn that off. But again, just keeping things going, keeping the motion going. And I use this particular pan, just a real quick whip, to jump into, we're actually in the canals in Venice, showing a gondolier rowing his boat down the canal. And I was on a gimbal on this shot, and I just kind of was following this guy, and just happened to be passing by another gondolier. And then I used the gondolier's arm here as a mask to roll into a next shot, which was further down the way. But again, another cool shot. I'm staying behind the railings here, and then it's going to lead me into another shot that has the same kind of like movement. So you just kind of have this flow of everything's continuing to pace with the music, continuing to pace with the audio design. Everything's moving nice and smooth. Got a shot of my wife walking. And I just was following her on the gimbal, and I remember this shot because I was telling her, just keep walking, keep walking. Okay, duck into the corner left, and there was just kind of a doorway, and I was ducking down an alley. And quite honestly, I didn't know what I was going to do with that shot. I just thought it was kind of cool to have us dip together into darkness, which then rolled into this shot as well. And this is just me panning from a kind of a tilted left to right. And one thing I try to do when I'm doing transitions is I will try to find something to transition to. If it's got to be a dark spot or behind an object of some sort, or maybe into a white overexposed scene. But this allows me to transition nicely from a darker clip. So if like right here, for example, into a clip where I was kind of panning from a dark behind a dark wall, and kind of expose an open bright area here. Now this one I just felt I wanted to pop to another scene. This is a clip that I rolled backwards. And then onto this clip here, I just cut to it real quick. It's a flowing, moving clip. Ran this at a high, shot this at I think 120. So I ramped this thing up to about 400% speed, and just was kind of circling around this sign a few times, and it just kind of looked really neat how it kept moving, and it led us right into another flowing clip. This is another example where I actually shot the clip first and then got it framed up of what I wanted to capture. I want to capture these umbrellas, and then I reversed the clip and ramped out to a whip out. So it looks like I whipped in and landed right on the umbrellas, and the truth is I started on the umbrellas and then whipped out of it. So I just reversed that shot. So it looks something like that. So again, from the beginning, got it framed up, and then I just kind of rolled it, whipped out of it. But again, in post, it allows me to reverse that same shot, and that way, boom, I can land on it. And then from there, it looks like I whipped again, but truthfully, I didn't. I just kind of dropped the camera down a little bit, but then I had another clip that I shot again in reverse in post. Well, I shot it, started on this sign, which is pretty cool, and then just whip pan out of it, and again ran it in reverse. So essentially that's all I'm really doing, is layering together different motions, different whip pans, and finding ones that just kind of flow together. And again, most of these I have to run in reverse just to get them to go from one to the other. So really, it's the nice thing of doing whip pans in camera is you have those kind of blurry cut points that just keeps the motion going, regardless if it's going up, down, left, right. If you have another clip that you can roll into, great, but it's not always necessary. So for instance, this shot here, even though I didn't transition into it, it just was, I'm rolling from left to right. And in post, I actually just kind of gave a little bit more movement by moving the frame from down to up, as you can see here. So I'm changing the position. So it's kind of flowing upwards, but if you take away the actual positioning on this, I'm just kind of, I'll show it to you. I'm just kind of moving the camera around the scene, but just giving it a little bit more life, a little bit more movement. Just setting those two start end points. This one's at the bottom, and then I change the position of the frame where it's moved to the top. So again, just kind of giving it some nice flow. And then I did the same thing on this next clip. So that one's doing the same thing, it's just in reverse. So it just kind of flows into each other. But that's it, guys. That's about a minute into this particular film. Like I said, I've got about 25 clips that I use to build up this first 45 seconds of sequences. It's not magic. It's pretty simple. Just when you're out shooting, just make sure you get your you set your shot first, get it framed up, and then whip in and whip out of it. And that way, if you want to reverse into that shot so it looks like you whipped in and landed right on that object, it just gives it a kind of a cool effect. But that's essentially how I did this. If you guys have some additional questions at all, I know it's nothing spectacular, it's nothing fancy, but I did get a lot of people asking me specifically how I did most of my transitions for this, if it was something I did in post or if it's something I did in camera. So again, most of these, in fact, all these clips were done in camera. I'm not a big fan of doing transitions in post, quite frankly, because I'm not that good at them. So I just prefer to do them in camera. Plus, I think it just looks a lot better. But anyways, guys, thanks for taking the time to take a look at this. I hope this was helpful to you. Again, if you have any questions at all, please leave a comment below. But other than that, you guys take care. Bye-bye.